We want to check in on a developing story with Renita Young, senior markets correspondent. We are looking at the grocery space. The FTC suing to block the Kroger Albertsons merger. Renita, take us through the latest.
Diane, the FTC has long thought that this particular merger, bringing together two of the largest grocers in the country, that would eventually lead to less competition and higher prices for groceries, right? And even when both of these companies agreed to sell off about 400 of the stores to a wholesale grocer, and that wholesale grocer agreed to buy an additional 200, maybe more, the FTC still didn't think that was a good idea. They've been highly skeptical of using divestitures as a way of promoting competition, and they weren't really too fond of how it was earlier handled with Albertsons' deal with Safeway. And so today the FTC, of course, suing to block that $25 billion deal because they say, of course, it would eliminate competition, lead to higher prices, and what's more is that they say it'll lead to store closures and job losses. And speaking of prices, Diane, this comes at a hyperinflationary period for food. BLS data shows since 2020, Americans have been spending maybe about 26% more on groceries. I know I've seen the results of that in my grocer's bill every couple of weeks or so. And that's the highest part also of income that Americans have been spending on food, higher than any other time in the past 30 years. And so the two companies, Kroger and Albertsons, they did say that they would attempt to use $500 million in cost savings from that deal to be able to cut prices and create some custom deals, some custom promotions. But the FTC simply isn't buying that. And then something else interesting happening in this space, Aldi is continuing to put pressure on big grocers to cut their prices because Aldi is expanding and it still has dramatically lower prices.
All right, well, definitely you got some consumer concerns at play, and we know there were other headwinds previously with a couple of unions who weren't on board with this, so it's definitely another speed bump for these companies. Renita Young, thank you.
Of course.